Let's Gamespot.
Hello and welcome to the ever-evolving Let's Gamespot. I'm your host, Jeff Gerstmann. You heard me right. I said evolving. This week we're doing Chuck Darwin proud by taking everything you know and love as Let's Gamespot and yet again tweaking and messing around with the formula. Oh no, you won't be seeing any new segments popping in. Instead, we're going to shuffle our traditional segments around all casino style and see what turns up on 4th Street. Or is it the flop? Nah. Either way, we're going to deal you Mafia and Sonic Heroes. Meanwhile, Amarillo Tim is sitting on the news in a preview of Breakdown with Brad Shoemaker. Up-and-coming boxer Alex Navarro and Hollywood home game hero Rich Gallup each have cholera and movies off suit. Greg Kasavin's showing a review of Silent Storm, and Ryan McDonald's picked up a belly-buster straight draw and an interview with Planet-Side's largest outfit, the Devil Dogs. The Trivia Robot and me, well, we're walking away from this four-way action because we don't play for the river here on Let's Gamespot. First up this week is Illusion Softworks' PC to PS2 port, Mafia. Originally released for Windows back in August of 2002, you can now relive the prohibition from your couch without Kevin Costner or Sean Connery. Yes, it's the 1930s, and you are unassuming cab driver Tommy Angelo. Unassuming means not a criminal. That is, until you help some of the Salieri crime family escape a hit from a rival family, drawing you into their seedy underworld. Mafia consists of third-person shooting and peeling through the streets in various automobiles of the era. Those familiar with the PC game will notice all of the original game's missions and cutscenes remain intact. In fact, little has been changed in 17 months, although one major improvement to Mafia sees increased speed limits for the game's cars and the city you drive them through. You need more driving? Well, okay. How about a new racing mode where you can pick from several tracks and 4 different race types with names like Classic, Sports, Racing, and Mixed. Those types refer to the style of car you use in the race, not sense of deodorant. I think that joke needs deodorant. Maybe I'll pull it back out of the hamper when the Xbox version of Mafia comes out in early March. For more information on the PS2 version, shake down the game space for GameSpot's review. Speaking of ports, for everybody who was hoping for a shot at Sega's Sonic Heroes but didn't own a GameCube, the 3-week wait is over! Now even Xbox and PlayStation 2 owners can experience this attempted mix of the Sonic classic fast pace in 3D environments. Except that both of these versions aren't as good as the GameCube release, so proceed with caution. Just like the GameCube version, Sonic Heroes for the PS2 and Xbox contains 2 gameplay modes, 1-player and, you guessed it, 2-player. The single-player game consists of 4 options, including an educational tutorial and the main story. In the story mode, you pick from one of 4 3-creature teams and run them through a bunch of levels. You can pick from Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Rose, and Team Chaotix. Each team has one character that specializes in speed, one can fly, and one is the muscle of the outfit. As you speed through the levels, you can switch among the 3 teammates as their respective skills are required. There are also boss fights, bonus stages, and both CG and real-time cutscenes. Sonic Heroes 2-player mode consists of 8 different race types, all employing the same team-oriented gameplay. 3 different consoles and 3 different review scores for Sonic Heroes. Find out which one is right for you over at the Hydra-like 3-headed game space. Or let me just save you some effort. The GameCube version is the best version. The Xbox version has frame rate trouble, but it's still okay. And the PlayStation 2 version is a total mess. But enough about this unpleasant business. Let's kick it over to Tim Tracy, who's here with the early news.
The official website for Painkiller, the forthcoming shooter from Dreamcatcher and People Can Fly, went live this week, offering information about the game, details on the Pain game engine, game trailers, downloadable MP3s, and wallpaper. Unfortunately, Dreamcatcher also postponed Painkiller's PC release from March 10th to April 12th. The M-rated shooter, which follows a recently deceased and heavily armed soul blasting his way through purgatory, will be available in single-player demo form on February 16th. An Xbox version of the game is due sometime in Q2 2004. Sony Online Entertainment has announced that Champions of Norath, Realms of EverQuest has gone gold and will ship to stores across North America on February 11th. Champions of Norath is a role-playing game set in the fantasy world of EverQuest, several hundred years before the timeline of the current PC game. Microsoft has announced that the latest event in its Play the Star program will allow players to participate in a Fable chat with Peter Molyneux and both Simon and Dean Carter of Big Blue Box while playing them at Crimson Skies. The event is scheduled to get underway on February 18th and is expected to last for approximately 90 minutes. To take part in the Fable chat, players simply need to add the developers' gamer tags of Lionhead1 and Lionhead2 to their friends list and wait and see if they get invited to the dogfight. For more information on all these games, check out their respective game spaces. Sorry, I'm not used to being on the show this early. Back to you, Jeff.
Now joining me over here in Gamespot Live's Studio B is Associate Editor and current leader of Beard Race 2004, Brad Shoemaker. Thanks for joining us, Brad.
Thank you.
Last week you took a closer look at Namco's first-person action-adventure game, Breakdown. So I'm guessing that means that you got your hands on the game. What's it about story-wise?
Well, you start out in some sort of mental facility or research facility. They really don't make that clear, actually. The storyline kind of unfolds really slowly as you go along. Like, you really don't even know who you are when you start out, but it's obvious you've got these crazy powers because as you play, you start having a glowing fist and you start knocking guys across the room, stuff like that.
So the whole game takes place from like the first person.
Yeah, actually.
Is that work, or is it...
Oh yeah. It's it sounds a little gimmicky, but it actually is really cool. Like the camera never switches from the first person, so everything you do in the game, everything that happens, you'll see happen from your own eyes. Even like eating a hamburger or something like that.
How's the combat in the game?
The gun combat is pretty much what you'd expect from first-person shooter. It's got like an automatic lock-on, kind of like Metroid Prime. But it's also got a pretty full-featured hand-to-hand combat engine. You can do different kinds of punches and kicks.
So on top of all that, there's like a lot of trippy stuff going on too, like ghost cats.
Yeah, I didn't get very far into it, so I don't really know why you're hallucinating or what's going on with that. But you'll see a weird little kind of transparent cat walk along in front of you every once in a while. Sometimes you'll see like your flesh disappears and you can just see your bones. Sometimes you go through a door and you'll end up out in some kind of weird other dimension.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah, it's a real pain.
Yeah. So why don't we just cut to the chase here? There's first-person puking in this game?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Or
fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
I mean, is there anything else to it? I mean, how does the puke look?
Very real,
Nice.
Actually. It's the top-notch textures.
Excellent. Thanks, Brad.
No problem.
For more information, be sure to check out Brad's complete impression story. Now, carpenter from Ohio, Alex Navarro, is going to take you all the way to Oregon with 500 bullets, 3 sets of clothing, and a wagon tongue.
Thanks, Jeff. Did you go to elementary school between the years of 1974 and 1993? If so, you're excused from this part of the show because you've already played Oregon Trail and therefore you already know that it's one of the greatest games of all time. If you missed this era or opted to drop out of school before 3rd grade, then I'll explain for your benefit. Oregon Trail was released in the early 70s by the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium, or MECC. It was basically a mixture of an adventure game and a strategy game, and your goal was to sort of like take this party of 5 across the country. What made Oregon Trail unique was its unpredictability and its immersiveness. When traveling the trail, members of your party could catch all sorts of like horrible diseases like dysentery or cholera. Thieves could come to your wagon in the night and steal your supplies, and you could always wreck your wagon. You'd also have to hunt for food, trade with other travelers, and manage your travel pace so as not to kill your oxen. Quite often a party member or two would perish before reaching your destination, but each time out you were learning. The whole genre of edutainment games probably never would have reached its full potential without stand-up pioneers like Oregon Trail. It managed to teach and entertain and do both extremely well. This is why Oregon Trail is one of the greatest games of all time. Now let's take it over to my main man, Rich Galb, to hear about what's new this week on Gamespot Live and how you can get free money from the government to go back to school, pay your bills, or even start a small business.
Thanks, Alex. We've got a lot of movies now playing, and all of them are worth checking out. Okay, maybe all but one. Let me get out of the way first, because a lot of people have been checking out the trailer for Top Heavy Studios' The Guy Game. Stop it. Instead, why don't you check out the newest trailer for The Sims 2? It's got aliens and everything. Also available to GameSpot Basic members are a slew of new gameplay movies for the GameCube game Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. GameSpot Complete members can check out Alex Navarro's preview of Konami's latest in their successful football series, Winning 11-7. And by football, I mean soccer. Also be sure to watch our interview with Jim Wallace, producer of Sony's Rise to Honor, the Hong Kong cinema-themed action game starring Jet Li. Action RPG fans can catch Ryan Davis's review of Black Owl Studios' Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. For more of the latest movies from GameSpot Live, click on GS Live at the top of any GameSpot page. Back to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Rich. Joining me back here at Studio B is Executive Editor Greg Kasavin. Hey, Greg.
Hey.
Last week on the show, we briefly mentioned Nival Interactive's World War II turn-based strategy game Silent Storm. You got to review it, and this game sounds really cool. Why don't you first tell us about the story?
Well, it's set during World War II, but it's sort of a wackier, crazier World War II because the plot sort of revolves around the discovery of these RoboCop Ed 209 style walking tanks. So whoever gets their hands on these kind of super weapons is going to take the upper hand, and the game features both an Allied and an Axis campaign.
So how does one go about playing Silent Storm?
It's a lot like games like Jagged Alliance 2 and XCOM, so it's one of those tactical squad action games. Their characters have a full range of motion. They can shoot in any direction. They can do all kinds of things like hop over fences and climb out of windows. But it's all represented in turns and governed by their action points. So the amount of stuff that they can do in the turn depends on that.
What about the physics? You can actually break a lot of stuff in the game too, right?
This game features some of the coolest physics I've ever seen in any game. You see enemy bodies get sent flying all around, and explosions can knock entire buildings down and rip entire floors out from underneath people. All kinds of really wild things like that.
Cool. So the Panzerklein, these are the Ed 209 style suits. Are those? How do those come into play?
Hopefully you'll get your hands on these things before you run into them, because these things they look like they're supposed to be strong, but they feel like they're even stronger than they ought to be. Like even weapons like bazookas and Panzerfausts pretty much don't even put a dent in these things. So unless you have your own, you're pretty much screwed.
So is there anything else that stands out about Silent Storm that you'd like to inform us of?
Well, I wish I could say it was perfect, but there are a few things that kind of hold it back a little bit. Like it takes a long time for enemy turns to resolve, but it's just a very neat game and very surprising in a lot of ways, and just kind of goes to prove that turn-based strategy games don't need to be these kind of stuffy and straightforward types of affairs.
Cool. So what score did you give the game?
I gave it an 8.2 out of 10. It's a great game.
Cool. Sounds cool, Greg. Thanks for coming by. The Silent Storm Gamespace has Greg's full review, so check it out. Just this last weekend, Ryan McDonald's Gamespotting was live with moving pictures about the Devil Dogs, the largest outfit in the massively multiplayer online first-person shooter PlanetSide. Here's a taste.
That's right, Jeff, and today I'm going to bring you a brief excerpt from that Gamespotting live video so you can kind of check out and kind of get a feel for what the Devil Dogs are all about, and of course how they play PlanetSide.
Hey, what's up? My name's Anthony, aka Evil Pig, NC Markov. I'm going to talk to you today about the 666 Devil Dogs and what we do.
My name is Paul. I'm also known as Neuroside with the 666 Devil Dogs on Markov.
I'm the leader of the 666 Devil Dogs, the largest outfit in all of PlanetSide.
I work for an ISP. When I'm not out making the ching-ching, I'm playing PlanetSide.
I'm student advisor at a middle school, responsible for the safety and well-being of our students. I investigate crimes and incidents on campus. It started out that I wanted to have an outfit that was the kind of outfit I wanted to be in, but it's really about maintaining that great, fun environment for our players. It's a wonderful thing.
Well, that was only a small excerpt of the video. You can go ahead and go to the Gamespotting section and check out the Gamespotting titled Body Blow to see the full 10-minute long video.
Lights, camera, nerds. So it seems I have lost my way and my dog. To help fund my life on the road, I've taken up a part-time job as a gaffer. Maybe one day I'll have enough scratch to free answer from those bail-hungry bounty hunters. But until then, it's the world of television lighting for me. I spend most of my day hanging 30 feet above the floor, rigging Otis 5000s, and why are you looking at me like I need arms? What you nerds don't know about me could fill a book of trivia. Question number 1, when does Mafia take place? Question number 2, which of the following is not a profession in Oregon Trail? A, farmer, B, banker, C, carpenter, D, Jeff has measles. Question number 3, What are the names of walking armored suits in Silent Storm? Question number 4. Name 2 teams found in Sonic Heroes. Question number 5. In what town should I settle down? What was that crashing sound? It wasn't me, honest. It was these nerds. Don't point your grubby finger at me just 'cause I ain't union. I'll suit this outfit so fast I'll be the one directing the infomercials. Oh yeah, you can't fire me. I quit. You are welcome.
Send your answers and mailing addresses to triviarobot@gamespot.com. Consider that question number 6, like, what is your mailing address, nerd? Without it, we're going to send your prize to one of the many GameSpot siblings whose birthdays were recently missed. What kind of family has 2 kids born less than a month after Christmas? It's just not fair to the 3rd kid. It just isn't. Well, while we try to convince the mailroom to set their postmarks back a couple of weeks, you stay here and stay tuned to the site for the latest news, reviews, and previews from the Good Shift Gaming. Until next week, I'm Jeff Gerstmann, reminding you that Ninja Warriors was a totally rad arcade game. Good night.
Think about it.
I'm making the meter move with my talky talk voice. My voice makes the meter go woo, 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 woo. And I'm like, yeah.